Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be looking at exhaust systems and how to reduce drone with a Helmholtz Resonator. So I'll give you a bit of a backstory on this case. This car, 1.8 turbos, running a 76mm back exhaust. It's got a bigger center silencer we could fit in it, and then it's got a big rear silencer. They're both absorption type mufflers. So these are the mufflers with the perforated tube going through, and then around that tube it's packed with fiberglass, and that was excellent. It's made the exhaust really quiet under most driving conditions. But the problem with the absorption mufflers is that they don't really work below 200 hertz. So first of all, I put the system on as it is, and it was loud idling, and it was also a little bit boomy on the motorway. And the most obvious boom was when, say, you lifted off the throttle but left it in gear, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, then there was a real boom inside the car. So I tried that for a couple of weeks. Hopefully I thought that this would be enough, but it wasn't. So after that I decided to go with the Helmholtz Resonator. I'll put a link to a calculator in the video description that I used to make this one, and the results of that were very good. Like the lift-off drone, more or less eliminated, quieter at idle, and generally a little bit quieter everywhere. Not a big difference, but you could tell everything was a bit quieter. Like it was, I'd say, a noticeable difference. But if I was going to do it again, I'd make some changes to the calculations. And I think what I would do in that calculator, you need to put in some few variables, like the frequency that you want to eliminate and the temperature of the gas, and then you can adjust neck diameters, neck lengths. You can adjust chamber diameter and lengths to get the frequency that you want. And the changes I would make basically is with the temperature. I thought I was being conservative. I said like 60 Celsius would be the temperature, the average temperature of the gas in that Helmholtz Resonator, because the temperature is important, because the speed of sound changes according to temperature. So I thought 60 was enough. And also the frequency I targeted, basically the problem frequencies were like 95 to 140. And to find that out, I used the Spectroid app. Again, link in the video description to all this. And I think what's happened is that it's targeting around 130. It's kind of left, there's not much suppression around 95. And the reason I say that is because when the exhaust is cold, I think it performs better. But if you're traveling at a high speed for a long time, you're getting heat into the exhaust, it just feels like it just loses a bit of effectiveness. And I think that's because it moves up the frequency range that it's suppressing, if you like, climbs up, and it leaves the 95 there without being suppressed so well. So like I said, I use 60, and it's quite close to the exhaust. I mean, it's not a million miles away. I think it's reasonable for most exhausts. 60, I would probably make that sort of 40. And the reason I say that, because the 40 would suppress lower frequency range. And if I went too low on the temperature, I can always wrap the chamber itself with exhaust insulation, and that would bring the temperature up, so it would be more effective. I could basically, I'd have a bit of adjustment there with the insulation to alter the frequency. But as it is at the moment, there's literally next to no insulation on the chamber, and it's so I don't have any adjustment. There's no way for me to make the chamber cooler. And I'd also change the design. Like I've used a 43mm neck going into a 76mm chamber, 76mm diameter chamber. And I think if I was going to do it again, I'd want it a bigger difference between the neck diameter and the chamber diameter. So instead of 76, that was 3-inch, like try and go 4-inch or 5-inch to get that difference between the neck and the chamber, so there's a bit more resistance for the air going in and out. And yeah, and with the lower temperatures and with the lower frequency, like I said, I targeted, I think, 120, like I target sort of 110, maybe 100, 105. And again, if that turned out to be too low a frequency, like it was missing, like the 140 for example, I can always wrap the chamber in insulation to pick that frequency back up. And the benefit also of going for a lower frequency and a lower temperature, it gives you a bigger chamber volume, and the bigger the chamber volume, the more powerful the suppression effect is. But you know, for the calculations I did, it definitely made a difference. It's definitely suppressed it, but I do wish it just had a bit more power over the frequencies that it's suppressing, and if they could just be like 5-10 hertz targeting a lower frequency range. I'm happy I did it. It was money well spent. I went to a custom exhaust shop. They did it for €130. They supplied all the materials. I gave them the dimensions and they welded it all up and did an amazing job. Yeah, so if you're wondering if a Helmholtz Resonator works, in my experience I'd say absolutely. Is it better than a J-pipe? I could have done both. I could have done a Helmholtz or a J-pipe, but I think the Helmholtz is supposed to target a wider frequency range, and maybe it doesn't bring it down so... Sorry, the J-pipe targets a narrower frequency range, but maybe it suppresses it a bit more in that frequency range, and I wanted more of a broad, bigger range of frequency suppression, like 95 to 140, like I said, which is quite a big range. So I was prepared to lose a bit of suppression for the greater range. The Helmholtz on the J-pipe calculation on this would probably have been about, I think it's going to be like 80-90 centimeters long for the J-pipe length. I mean, I could have done it, but I thought, yeah, maybe the Helmholtz is a better way to go, and maybe it's easier to install because, you know, it's a bit smaller. Yeah, so I'm definitely glad I did it. I think it's well worth doing if you've got the drone. But if you've seen the previous video that I've done, I still get drone at 3,500, 3,000, 3,500 and up on larger throttle openings. Like there is a resonance inside the car, which I would really prefer is not there. Like I said, if I was going to do the Helmholtz again with a lower frequency, with a bigger chamber, I think it would have been better in those frequencies. I'm not sure if it would be completely better, but I think it would be better. But like I said, I'm not going to do it again. I'm happy with it is. I'm not going to chop this one off and redo it, at least for now. But guys, that's basically my experience of building a Helmholtz Resonator, what effect it made, and what the things I would do differently if I was going to design another one. So hopefully, again, as always in all these videos on DriveTune Media, hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Look after yourself, and I'll see you again in the next video.